seeing you.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the April 4th meeting of the Lopatcong Township Council to order. We need a resolution to come out of executive session. Motion?
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. I'd ask that you all bow your head for a moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Councilman Belcaro.
Here.
Councilman Polito.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Council President Pryor.
Here.
Mayor McGill.
Here. Do we have any public comment on agenda items only? Mr. Betts?
My name is John Betts, and I live over in Brakely Gardens. I'm just wondering whether that ordinance number 18-5, I couldn't find it. Ordinance number 18-505 is an existing ordinance?
I think that is, yes.
It's updating, it's a new ordinance, but it's updating our affordable housing.
Is there a portion of the meeting after this this public comment right now, later on during the discussion on that item?
This is just introduction, and then it'll be advertised in the
Okay.
newspaper, and it'll be public hearing next week.
Okay, great. So next meeting, so then I can ask the specific purpose and the content in the next meeting.
It's all part of the settlement. for
Yes.
affordable housing. It's
Yes, and it's that one that's online on the
Yeah.
township. Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else on agenda items only? All right, at this time, we have a swearing in of a new officer, Tyler Plesnarski, as a police officer.
Do you want somebody to hold the Bible for you? Okay, so you can face your audience. Then you're going to raise your right hand and hold the Bible. And then you can repeat after me. I, Tyler Plesnarski,
I, Tyler Plesnarski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the police department
all the duties of the police department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, well,
Tyler, welcome aboard. I'm going to assume, unless my eyes are failing me more than usual, that you are now the tallest officer we have. Have we taken that height off of Bobby Stefano, or what are we doing?
We confirm that.
Best of luck to you. We're glad to have you aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
If you want to take your family leave, or you can bore yourself with the rest of the meeting. Somebody's looking to jump out of the chair here, so feel free to. Oh, you got to feed them. Well, it's very important. So you're more than welcome to leave. Thank you again very much. Good luck. All right, now we have a special presentation by the Lopatcong Board of Education. If I could introduce Bob McFarland, our board president.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. It's our pleasure as the Board of Education for Lopatcong to come here tonight and speak to you on behalf of a joint venture that's been going on for many, many years between us and the Phillipsburg Board of Education. I'm proud to say that we have representatives here tonight from Phillipsburg Board, as well as our superintendent, Rainey Roccaroni, and our superintendent from Phillipsburg, Greg Truxell. So the point of this meeting is to explain to the public and to you how this Phillipsburg tuition rate has been developed. And we have held a couple of meetings between Phillipsburg administrative as well as our finance and our board to explain this to us, and we felt that this was something that was good enough to bring here tonight. So without further delay, I'd like to bring up two of our board members, Matt Herzer and Barbara Lance, who will carry on this presentation. Thank you.
I'd just like to keep in mind that I work for the Phillipsburg Board of Education, and I did promise Mrs. Horn and Mr. Troxel I'd get them out of here early tonight because I don't want to have to deal with it in the morning. So keep it short.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
very fast.
Okay, the first part of our presentation is what is the difference between a send and receive versus a regional. Lopatcong, we send our students to Phillipsburg with funds from our budget. So we pay tuition for our students grades 9 to 12, and a regional setup would have two separate districts, your high school district and your local elementary, and you would have, that would be accounted for in your tax bill as two separate school districts.
Okay, so there's types of tuition in the send and received component that we're in. So there's general education, and that's for every student that is projected to attend the high school. The number of students multiplied by the tuition rate, and the final tuition rate is certified by Trenton after completed audit, and that's 2 years later. There's also special education students. Only those expenses related to a particular program, so it would be like autism, multiple disabilities, any of those expenses, students that require additional IEP-driven help, and it's based on the total hours of services provided for those students.
Okay, and how do we get there? In this case, the state calculates the tuition rate, not the receiving district, which would be Phillipsburg. The receiving district submits the budget documents to the state, and only certain budgetary lines are utilized in the calculation for the high school. And then the state certifies the tuition rate and sends a notice, which you all have a copy of what their maximum rate they can charge.
Okay, so the question is, what expenses can be used? So just to highlight a few, it's the salaries of the high school staff, benefits of the high school staff, student costs and their textbooks and supplies, technology, health and guidance services, extracurricular programs, which would be sports and clubs, building maintenance and utilities, allocation of administrative costs, so that's principal, central office, and support services for special education. There's some of the expenses that go into the budget calculation.
And also in your handouts, there's a 3-page document which details exactly which expenditure lines they're allowed to charge, and it's broken down by 3 levels, grade kindergarten, grades 1 to 5, 6 to 8, and of course high school, 9 to 12, and any special ed programs that they may have. And the calculation is the state takes the total budgeted figures that Phillipsburg submits to them and divides it by the average daily enrollment of the high school.
So the Lopatcong budget side, Phillipsburg notifies the sending district, which would be Lopatcong, of the tuition rate. And then Lopatcong, we project the number of students that are expected to attend the high school in the next school year. And Lopatcong's cost is the number of students times the tuition rate.
And on the Phillipsburg side, they take the number of projected enrollment students from all their constituent districts, and their revenue is based on how many students they expect to receive in September. The rest of the revenue is the Phillipsburg tax levy and their state aid.
Okay. So at the end, we have an enrollment reconciliation. So in June, the actual average daily enrollment is calculated for each sending district, and the budgeted enrollment is compared to the actual enrollment, and an adjustment is made. So we could owe Phillipsburg money, or they could owe us money back. So a credit or a bill is given based on that adjustment.
And the budgetary adjustments come 2 years later. This is after an independent auditor reviews Phillipsburg's books and submits the audit findings to the state. The Department of Education then certifies the final tuition rate, and then any variances of what was budgeted versus what was actually spent are calculated, and then a credit or a bill is given based on whether or not it was more or less.
So on the handouts, we've attached some of the other county rates for send and receive districts. We also have an opportunity, we have Phillipsburg, we have Stacy Horn, the business administrator from Phillipsburg, and Mr. Troxel here, as well as some of their board members to answer any questions on the Phillipsburg side. And we can certainly do our best to answer the questions on the Lopatcong side.
I have just one question. Cost accounting, the special education students are apart from the calculation?
Yes, so they're in their own
And
calculation.
they're billed directly?
It's based on what program they're in, and then on top of that, whatever services their IEP specifies.
So when you do the division, the total cost by the total students, they would also have to be excluded from that, correct?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, I got you. Right? Yes.
Yeah, say what I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any quick questions? I'd like to thank Vicki Mendez-Branch and Rosemary Poussin for coming out representing the board tonight. And of course, I have to acknowledge my two bosses, Stacy Horn and Greg Troxel. So it really is a very, it's simpler than it sounds. So I'll let it go at that. I don't want to say too much about it. If you have any questions, I would suggest you feel free to reach out to them. They'd be more than happy to explain it to you at any time. So with that, if nobody else has any questions, you guys are free to leave.
Thank you.
All right?
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Jimmy?
Yes.
I would just like to say that whole presentation is also available on the board website for anyone to access, so.
Yeah, we could, yeah, that's fine. We can put it on the township website. I don't have a problem with that. That's good.
It's on ours.
Okay. It's on yours. We'll put it on the township. So.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right? Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
All right. Next, under old business, we need to approve the executive and regular session minutes for February 7th, March 1st, and March 22nd, 2018. Have a motion?
Make the motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 2 under old business, personnel matter regarding tax sewer collector Rachel Mosher. Action will be taken. At this time, turn it over to our attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This discussion is being held in public session at the request through counsel of Ms. Mosher. Ordinarily, we would default to having this in executive session. But the format doesn't change. This is a discussion amongst the council. It's not open for back and forth with the public or with the employee. It's an opportunity for the employee and for the public to hear what's going on. We're here tonight because on February 7, 2018, we suspended Ms. Mosher with pay pending an investigation that was being conducted internally regarding matters relating to the tax collector's office as well as the sewer collector aspect or component of that office. On March 19, 2018, a complaint was filed on behalf of the township with the Department of Division of Community Affairs down in Trenton seeking the removal of Ms. Mosher from the position of tax collector. That was the maximum that we were going for. The DCA likes to see what relief the township is seeking, so that was what was presented. In light of the fact that the township and professionals, including the auditing firm, felt that there was enough information there to warrant the filing of the complaint, and in fact warrant seeking the removal of Ms. Mosher from the position of tax collector, at this point we are recommending that the suspension with pay be converted to a suspension without pay pending the outcome of the DCA's investigation, and if a hearing is going to be had, pending the outcome of that hearing as well. Additionally, we recommend the authorization to file a request for an emergent application with the DCA to determine the status of the suspension without pay. In other words, if the DCA comes back and says, no, you need to keep it suspended with pay, then obviously we would convert that back to suspension with pay and do whatever the DCA recommends. So if the council is inclined to pursue that route, it would be a motion authorizing those actions to occur, and we would proceed accordingly.
Do we have any questions? Based on the attorney's recommendation, I believe we need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Yes. Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Nuchich?
Yes.
And there's just one other housekeeping item related to that. There was a request that was forwarded to our office on behalf or by Ms. Mosier requesting that the Lopatcong Township, at least in part, fund a CLE, essentially, course. It's a tax seminar, which would include 3 nights of lodging, the registration fee, and mileage. That request has been made, so we're forwarding that on to the council now for your consideration. I'm not going to tell you what to do on that. That's up for you guys to decide whether you want to authorize that payment.
I think it would be a good idea. Questions? No motion.
Our meeting's also last day.
So we need a motion for that, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's probably best.
Yeah.
And this is to the lodging.
Correct.
Okay.
Right? Have a motion based on the attorney's recommendation?
So, but are you asking for a motion to approve that, or it seems if there's no action, it's not approved, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay, I'm going to need a motion. Okay. That's it. All right, on to new business. Approve increases to various pool membership applications. Beth, you got anything on?
Yes, this year, last time we raised rates was back in 2011, so this year I'm recommending the rates be raised, and they're various, anywhere from $4 up to $30 for different memberships and evening rates, so it's a mix. So that's what I'm recommending. I could present that to you for consideration. If you would like to go forward with that, I would need a motion.
Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Nuchich?
Number 2, yes, Buckley Hill Drive intersection.
You had asked to have that on the agenda for discussion.
I personally,
It's been a couple of,
we're talking about Buckley Hill Drive and Belvedere Road
yeah.
with the sight lines. Paul, I believe you had looked into that a while ago, had you not?
Yes, I met with Brian to discuss trimming some trees to make the stop bar and the stop sign more visible. And that's something that I believe would help out in the interim. I think in the long term, we need to make some improvements within the right-of-way to enhance the visibility of the crosswalk for motorists on Belvedere Road, so it's a safer crossing for pedestrians. That's going to be addressed as part of the Safe Routes to School project. That particular grant that we received, which was in the amount of $380,000, had 3 components to it, and one of the components was to do work at the four-way intersection, Belvedere Road with Buckley Hill Drive and Mountain View Road, to try to enhance the visibility of the crosswalk.
Okay, I don't think we need to take any action on it tonight.
Well, I have a quick question. I mean, the improving the sight lines, we're working within the right-of-way, and are we just cutting down some vegetation like we did on First, and I think it was Sixth?
Yes, that's what the Public Works Department would have to do.
So really, they can just...
They could just go and do that.
Do we need to get involved with the county with that, Brian? Want any of that?
I really was in the middle of something else. Bring me up to
So,
speed.
yeah, if you're driving northward on Buckley Hill Drive, you don't see the stop bar and the stop sign at the last minute. I know we were out there last year and there were some branches to be trimmed.
A lot of the branches off. cleaned everything up as best we could without destroying things. And I can go back in and, you know, and take, basically the tree would have to be out next.
Okay. And unless we've gotten, obviously I wasn't here at that time, I do remember sitting out there and that was a discussion, but I don't, it hasn't entered my radar at all
I
lately.
haven't had any problems, nobody said nothing to me. I did talk to the homeowner and asked him to keep it maintained.
Okay. Anybody else up here have any complaints on that lately? No. No? Really? No?
No.
Okay. Then we're good. Number 3, discuss feral cat situation.
You're gonna ask me to put that up.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we need to control our cats. And I believe that was Brickley Park that had that complaint? There was a woman in Brickley Park?
Oh, I don't know, I didn't see the complaint.
Yeah. So,
Well, we can make the animal control officer aware.
he's gonna have to go out there and take a look.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll get him the address.
okay.
All right?
Thanks.
All right. Number 4, approve request by the construction official to increase building permit fees to $75 due to the Department of Community Affairs changes in permits no longer being required.
Evening, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. Thank you for having me here. Okay. This February, I submitted my financial support to the Division of Community Affairs, and I came up with $2,000 overhead, which is very, very tight. I should be running between $10,000 and $15,000. As of March 5th, the state of New Jersey came with an edict saying that roofing permits, siding, sheds, burglar alarms, landscapings are no longer required to get a permit from my department. This is about 30% of my budget. I did a quick calculation, so therefore that's why I'm asking to go from $58 to $75. And at this time, I'm going to hold back from going over a general 10% increase until I find out where I stand.
If I understand the arithmetic, your overhead is fixed, and you have fewer permits to spread this overhead over. Is that correct?
My overhead is not fixed, sir.
All right, well, why is it going, if you don't have to issue permits, your overhead is being spread over permits, is it not, in the fee? Maybe I'm not explaining
You have less opportunity to collect.
To recover your overhead.
Correct, I have less.
So with 30% fewer permits,
yes,
you have to increase the fee on the permits that you do issue to cover your overhead.
Correct, sir.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
So these permits are no longer required. They were a flat fee, or were they based on the cost of a project?
Most of them were flat fees.
Right.
Yeah.
So those revenue you're losing?
Correct.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? I don't have any problem with it, so.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, second thing I have is I would like a resolution written, so in the event that I need a substitute inspector or technical assistance, I can pay them $30 an hour. Oh, $35 for my inspector and $20 for a technical assistant. Right now, if someone goes on vacation 2 weeks, I have no way to pay the person to substitute for me. We have 3 major projects going on right now. Keep them very busy, and we have 2 more in the wings, and if Sycamore Landing ever comes up again, we're going to really be busy.
I have no problem with your request, but it's not on the agenda tonight. Is that an issue?
No, it's not an issue,
No.
but do we have to do it through the fee ordinance, right?
Well, that and if it's, maybe it can also will civil service work, I don't know.
Oh, Rich collector.
Yes, so.
Well, we'll look at, as long as we know the
we can-
council is generally in favor of it, we'll look into it and how we can put it into place.
Thank you very much.
Probably do something for you next month.
Thank you, sir. And the last thing I'm going to bring up there, I'll just give you a quick story. I was driving with Brian, and I said, wow, look at that, Brian, that's going to be a nightmare dealing with that. He says, what are you talking about? Then Brian says, look at that, it's going to be a nightmare to deal with. I said, Brian, what are you talking about? And I was not aware of it, but we have basketball hoops in the roads that's been causing a lot of problems with the snow plows. And what I want to make the council aware of, what I'm going to go down is put a red sticker on there saying this basketball hoop has to be moved back there. And we did this with the same thing with the trees, and I worked out very, very well. I don't know if you guys got any phone calls or not. I got tons of phone calls and just yelling at me, but that goes with the business I think here there. So that's what I'm going to be doing, just tell them to move their basketball hoops back.
I do have to play. I've been here 40-something years. There's been hoops out there for a long time. Do we have this covered in the ordinance somewhere, sir?
Yes, I believe, it is covered in yours. I have to take a look at it and get the exact wording for it.
Sure, it's
Okay.
under like general obstructions in the road.
Yeah, so when you put this sticker on, how long do they have to move it?
Make it.
Some of them I know were concreted in, right?
That's why I'm telling this to you.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's why we're bringing this up there.
Is there
And
anything other than snow plowing that causes an issue? If the mayor asked if we allowed them, if we did something in the ordinance that allowed them in the summertime, so they didn't have to keep moving them in, as long as they're November,
Well,
April, they pull them
Like I
in?
said, Joe and I were out about doing something else, we come across it, and we brought up it. What's happening is, new sweepers coming in about, actually could be here next week, okay? It's $270,000. All right, and all I'm doing between cars, garbage cans, and the basketball nets and trees is I'm missing half the road. All right, so we're trying to get the town back into a little bit of perspective. I can show you ones that are 3 and 4 feet out in the road.
Essentially, you want this done year-round, it's not just for snow.
Correct. If you want your town swept, if you don't want to see nothing but this, that's what has to come of it. I understand the kids want to play, I understand where it's about, but I also understand that there's going to be some respect line back.
Oh, the other danger is too, I'm sure the chief could speak to it, we have kids playing in the road.
There's 70. I sent the guys out. There is 70 basketball courts, all right, that are put on the roads. All right. It's not like you have a couple. It's just, and it's growing.
No, I think the ones that you can move are not on the road, there's no question.
Correct. There's one that's 8 foot high approximately, okay, and 3 feet out in the road.
No, there's no question, that's a hazard for traffic and everything.
My truck can't get under it.
Well, the obvious ones, obviously.
Well, if Rachel look into it, we'll get something written up and we'll go from there. Good enough?
What we were worried, because what started the whole thing was a couple years ago, just to let you know, as backing. On our street sweeper we have now, the stack used to be higher, all right, a little bit higher, and they caught one in basketball nets, all right, and drug it down the road. All right, we paid for a new muffler because there was nothing in place at that point, because it ripped it right off the sweeper. All right, so trying to do it right, it's a lot of taxpayers' money to destroy, so.
Okay. So whenever we got a problem, we'll address it. Anything else, sir?
thank you very much for your time, appreciate it, have a great night.
So Joe, and just one more question. So when you go on vacation, you have somebody to cover you right now? Or you said before you don't?
No, I don't have any way to pay the person. I have lots of people that will do it. The first question is, how much am I gonna pay? Unless you know somebody wants to do it for nothing. Lou? No, that's.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
But listen, in the interim, I don't know if you have a vacation coming up soon, until we find someone, find the details to work this in. We should put something temporarily to pay this person.
Well, if he has a plan, something coming up, like we put an ordinance in place,
Right.
and he's got something to let us know, and council can authorize.
Yeah.
Okay.
While he's gone.
But this winter, you know as well as I do, I think construction is going to be booming because everybody's itching
So
to
no
do things.
vacation.
No vacation, got it. No vacations.
Go start up when the snow stops.
Thanks, Joe. We still need a motion on number 4.
Sure.
You have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Pinito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks?
Yes. Number 5, discuss requests from Elizabethtown Gas Company on road opening permit waiver request. Paul, you want to address that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. There's 2 issues with Elizabethtown Gas's project. Just to give you a summary on the project, the gas company is looking to come in and replace about 5,500 linear feet of gas main in Morris Heights portion of the township. And the roadways we're talking about are Guy Road, Brakely Avenue, Enmore Road, Edward Street, a part of First Street, a part of Third Street, most of Fourth Street, and also portions of Dana and Cromwell. Most of these streets are not subject to any moratorium right now, but there is one street that's subject to a moratorium. It's 3rd Street. That was paved about 3.5 years ago. We had DOT monies to do that. The ordinance does not allow openings for 5 years, so there has to be a waiver granted by the town council for that. I have talked to Elizabethtown Gas about them milling and repaving the entire roadway within the area that they're going to be disturbing on 3rd Street. So if you're satisfied with that, then we could move ahead and grant the waiver. The second issue I wanted to review with the council is, although a lot of these roads aren't subject to a moratorium, many of them have been improved in recent years. The township has made major investments in these roadways, Edward Street, Breakley Avenue, Guy Road, for example. And I would like to have a discussion with your permission with Elizabethtown Gas to try to get them to do more than just repairing the trenches on that road, possibly getting a contribution from them to do some repaving on these roadways, or getting them through their own contractors to do some further milling and paving. So I would hope to get your permission to be able to do that as well tonight, in addition to you granting the waiver with respect to South 3rd Street.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do, a few, Paul. So I understand the request. I mean, are they going to get some kind of blanket road opening or what? Or no road opening, or?
It's going to be a road opening permit for the whole project, for all the streets, and I also want them to include the
Put these
services.
conditions and
Yes.
everything in there. Okay, I follow that.
They can't possibly ruin Dana any more than it is, so.
Yeah, and 3rd Street, they're going to make it look essentially like a new road again after and we're not going to see a patch, we're going to see...
We're going to see all new pavement,
All new
curb to
pavement.
curb, which is what we did 3.5 years ago.
And what's the stretch on that, Paul?
3rd Street is about 200 feet of 3rd Street, beginning at Edward Street and extending to the south. So it's not the entirety of the street, it's about 200 feet. It falls a little short of where Dana Street is located.
And I don't know what our road program is for next year yet, but I'd like a general prohibition against, opening anything that's just been redone. I see my share of overlays, and you go out 2 months later and there's a patch in the road, so.
The gas company did indicate that they wanted to learn more about what the township had in the way of plans in the next few years.
Yeah, I thought maybe in the permits some general language that addresses it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So those are the two issues. You would need to grant a waiver with respect to South 3rd Street, and I just want to get your permission before I issue a permit to have a discussion with them, a meeting with them to discuss possibly getting some further road work done as part of this, or providing a donation to the township due to the additional wear and tear they're going to be causing due to this project.
And the disruption. And everything of dust and whatever. I would make that motion.
Based on Paul's recommendations?
Yeah, everything Paul said, and include the waiver with the condition that they replace the disturbed section with mill and overlay the entire section.
Great.
Okay, have a motion? You have a second?
I have one more question. What's the dollar value in permit fees that we're waivering?
Good question.
I have not computed that. It's something that I would look up as part of developing a permit. For them, there are formulas in the ordinance to be able to do that, and length of roadway and area of disturbance into the picture when calculating that fee.
Well, Louis, that's a good question. We're not waiving the fee. We're going to have one
No.
for the blanket.
No, there's going to be a significant application fee to the township, and there's going to have to be inspection monies put forth as well to allow the work to be observed during the course of construction.
Good. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Valpero?
Yes.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Fryer?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Number 6, Trout Unlimited stream restoration work.
Yeah, maybe I can address that. I guess Juniper sent an email to Paul. Well, it started out with a fellow from Trout Unlimited, Cole Boldano. He sent an email to Juniper. Juniper sent one to Paul. I guess somehow it got forwarded to me. I worked with Trout Unlimited when I was on the Clean Water Council. I called Cole, and they're getting money from different sources. We got some money to do the rain garden, which trickled down from the William Penn Foundation down a couple levels. It went through Juniper's organization and Rutgers, and we eventually got it. And this is similar. There's money trickling down to Trout Unlimited, but it's not just the William Penn Foundation. He's putting together a couple sources. And he'd like to do 2 projects in Lopat. One is on Strikers, where Lopatcong Creek crosses at the bridge. And the other is on the eastern side of essentially the Ingersoll Brand site. Some of it would be in Peaburg, and some of it would be in Lopat. I called him, I said, I'd love to meet. He wanted to meet directly with Peaburg. I didn't think that would be a good idea. I thought we should learn a little more about what's going on, and he should learn a little more about our situation. I said, we don't own the property. The developer controls it. The developer does not have approval to do anything there yet. I don't know what his plans are.
Is that a good idea to entertain that now with them?
Yeah, and we still have things to negotiate with him, so I said I'd love to sit down and we'll go over this, and you and I should schedule a meeting, maybe Gary Van Vliet as well.
Okay.
And just learn more about it.
That's fine. So we don't need to take any action on that one at all. Everybody good with that?
Sounds good.
All right, number 7, request from Michael Coppola of Troop 54 for permission to install batting cages for his Eagle Scout project at the park. Michael, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
All right, I'd like to thank the Mayor Mangucci and the Town Council for allowing me to present my project. Michael Coppola from Boy Scout Troop 54 in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, and I'm here to request permission to install batting cages at the Lopatcong Park.
I've been over that with Mr. Lutz a couple times. We've picked out an area for that. I think it's a good idea where we want to put it. We will have to move that shed that's there now. And with Mr. Lutz, and I guess I need your permission too. There's some equipment in that shed that needs to be thrown out.
Correct. Donate whatever we need to do.
If it's out of date and our players should not be wearing it, then we need to get rid of it. And I don't think anybody would want to take it if it's not safe for them. So we'll get that shed cleaned out. We'll get it moved. You have funding for this project?
I'm planning to do fundraising for it.
Okay. Okay, and Mr. Lutz, you've already ordered the batting cages and whatnot?
In town.
Okay. Do we need anything from our road crew?
Brian and I are pretty much communicating on it, but we'll just make sure everything's good and set up with them, and we can move forward from there. It's open communication.
Providing the permits are in place, or whatever we would need. I certainly have no qualms about it. So anybody else does up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
There'll be some coordination.
Yeah.
With some documents.
All right.
I don't know much about the project, but I trust the mayor's judgment. He's been through this. We do have to make sure that whatever paperwork we have to do is in place, and particularly the insurance. We got to make sure Mr. Coppola is covered. We don't want anything happen to him. And there's other insurance requirements. We got to exchange certificates, things like that. So.
I have his email, so I'll...
Yeah, I guess Beth will set up some kind of pre-project meeting.
Yeah.
And we'll get Brian involved.
Sure.
And I think you can all go from there. And congratulations on your project.
Thank you very much for your service and everything else.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Kenny, you had one other thing real quick that the council is not aware of. You had mentioned it to me. If you could just address that real quick. Yeah.
Yes. We are in the process of taking a look at the junior baseball field. It's the one behind the pool. Years ago, we used to have a mound on there, and it was a pitching mound made out of dirt, obviously. Some time ago, the mound was taken away, used as an all-purpose field. Softball would use it, like our softball, like high school softball, that age kid. So now what happened is, we're going back the other way to wanting to put a mound on the field. And the reason why is because softball doesn't use that field anymore now that the quad is pretty functional and going the way it should. And it's a baseball field, it's our township baseball field. So we would like to do that partly because we have probably spent in the last 5-6 years about $4,000 to $5,000 on pitching mounts, portable ones made out of wood or whatever the product would be, and over years they get damaged and we have to keep replacing them. That's a fee that we don't really want to have to incur on the side of the LAA. So if we could possibly make a dirt mound, and we'll research that and do whatever we have to do, make a pitching mound there and put it back to a baseball field. We have a lot of feature things that are coming into town. We're pulling in teams from the New York area. We're working with the high school baseball coach, and we're looking to have a feature field. And it would be nice if we could put a mound there to save some funds on the LAA side with always buying mounds.
Well, you are our favored group, and you know the demands on the field. There's no competing demands right now, right?
Nope, not at all.
I really don't have a problem. I think Jim is our liaison with you these days. If you could just keep him in the loop.
Absolutely.
On this thing.
Yep.
Okay, we're talking the clay bricks, the whole 9 yards?
Clay bricks, we want to do it right. That's a great field, and we want to make sure the product we put in there is equal to what the field is.
Brian, you have a quick question?
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have to let you know that he's asking the road department to build this thing.
Okay.
All right, so I need to hear yes, no from that side. All right.
How much effort is involved?
Well, I don't know. I've never built one. I'm learning as I go here myself, I guess. Together with you. So that's kind of what I wanted to say, and Kenny and I agreed to that, but I wanted to bring it forward that, you know, the LAA and us would do it together and come up with a full thing. All right, so I just wanted that on record so we know.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We still need a motion on 7.
I will. You make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes. Number 8, resolution authorizing adjustment of credit on sewer account on block 72, lot 6.
Did you provide the council with a copy of the letter that went to the resident on that one?
We're good? The motion?
I don't know. I can't. Can you describe the letter real quick?
A incorrect credit of $837.
Oh, sure. I'm familiar with it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
So
Yeah.
we're making that correction, and
Right.
the resident has already been notified.
Okay.
Will you make a motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes. Resolution approving self-examination of the 2018 budget.
Kim, every 2 out of every 3 years, we self-approve,
Correct.
and we need a resolution when we do that?
Yes.
And we're eligible to do that this year, right? I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes. Number 10, ordinance number 18-04 to establish a cap bank.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Beth?
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes. Number 11, ordinance number 18-05 on affordable housing.
This is just your overarching affordable housing ordinance that you're required, every town's doing it, to update for their settlements.
Okay.
And the numbers are in that, or what is?
I think they're in there, but it basically...
It's consistent with the agreement that's been
Absolutely.
negotiated.
Yes, it was written by your planner.
Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci?
Yes. Number 12, ordinance number 18-06, authorizing sale of a real property to the County of Warren, Block 2, Lot 44.03.
This is the right-of-way that you inquired in front of Dr. Jorley's property when you widened the road for the high school intersection. So we are just giving the right-of-way to the county, since it is a county road. So it's a portion of block.
It's a no-cost
Yeah,
transaction?
yeah, no, they just need to actually own the right-of-way.
Okay. Motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Farr?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Number 13, approve a quote by Dieter Brothers for standard preventative maintenance at the cost of $3,200 for the heating and cooling system. That heating and cooling system where? Here, the township garage?
Give him a seat up here.
Yes, it is not the DPW garage.
It's here.
It's here, it's the firehouse.
Okay.
You know, and different things in that fashion. The people we had before, Jack Lear Electric, it came in at 6,200. All right, when we went out for quotes and everything, so Dieter Brothers is a reputable company.
Yes.
I've got to at least give them a chance, because they've cut you basically in half. All right, I've talked to them, I've added things, pretty much it's the same thing.
So they're going to come look at the system twice a year, once a year? What are they
They're
doing?
going to come 4 times a year.
4 times a year?
All right, they're going to do
Okay.
they're going to change the filters while they're here, they're going to go over everything. They're actually going to maintain the thermostats for us, so we don't change them during the seasons.
Okay.
When they come and they do the 4 stalls, they change the thermostat to make everything, you know, easier and around about.
Does this include any parts of any kind?
10% off on parts.
Okay.
All
Figured
right,
pretty
it's
much your standard.
Pretty much standard, everything.
Okay.
It's a 1-year contract. If we're not happy, we change and go somewhere else. But I've heard good and, you know, better. I haven't heard anything really
Been around a
negative,
long time.
you know,
So
so.
basically, we're getting the same service for half the price.
As long as their tech service is good, and I'll know that when the first guy walks in the door. All right.
All right, so you'll be with them and walk them.
Yeah, I have to teach them, I have to show them the maps. There's 7 units just in this place alone.
Need
All
'em-
right.
was
So I
it-
need a rep.
Well, I'll meet with the maintenance personnel, right?
Yeah, Brian's got some background with
Buildings.
HVAC also.
How many
so-
other buildings? You got both firehouses?
We don't, the other ones are just hanging units, they're real simple, there's nothing to them, so we don't put a contract on those. It'll cost you more to have a contract on those than it will.
Okay, so how many buildings total? 3?
Here,
Here?
and your firehouse.
Station 2.
Station 2, sorry, Station 2 fire. You have a boiler and you have a hot water heater over there. In here you have a hot water heater, 7 air handlers, 2 boilers.
What about your building, DPW?
DPW, we handle ourselves because it's pretty much hanging units.
Okay.
All right,
Very good.
and different things in that fashion, so.
Nobody else has any questions? We need-
No, I think he
Need a
did a
motion?
good job getting this proposal, so
Motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Farr?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Number 14, approve up to $600 to develop a brochure for Lopatcong Park.
Maybe I'll start this and Beth can hop in. This proposal originally came out of the rec committee, thinking that if we can promote the park and what's available for rental and so on, the brochure could generate more business. You heard Beth talk earlier about the maximum numbers we could keep the pool open if we could schedule some events. So Beth, you've looked into the brochure?
Yes, I've received 2 quotes, about the same amount of money, but I'd like to be able to give that job to a local girl who, she's a Lopac girl, she's in college right now, she's studying this, and her name is Carly Beeman.
Do we have any samples of her work at all?
No, I do not.
Okay, can we get something, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So pending maybe a couple of us looking at it? Are we going to go up to $600 for that?
Yeah, I could do that. And the other thing, we could throw something on the website too, so, you know, you'd have hard copy, you'd have a display on our site, so
Okay.
maybe it would generate some business.
Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Farr?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. The consent agenda, anybody want anything pulled out of the consent agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion. for the consent agenda. Items 1 through 7. Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Council reports. Mr. Polito?
Thank you. LAA, they're having a baseball clinic that's scheduled for June 3rd, and their annual golf outing is scheduled for June 8th. Moving over to EDAC, we had a meeting in late February where somebody came, gave a presentation on his desire to purchase and redevelop the Phillipsburg Mall. He's met with the Lopatcong EDAC as well, gave the same presentation. He's been in contact with the current owners. He also is going to be meeting with the county EDAC and give a little presentation of what he wants to do there, see if he can get any input from them as well. And I'm also looking to schedule an EDAC meeting for later this month.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Belcarro?
Yeah, the only thing I have to say, I just want to add to Brian's, as you stated earlier, a new sweeper's coming to town. So when the weather permits, the streets should start being swept again. And I think we're getting a new dump truck.
Yeah, it's called medium heavy duty, the bigger ones we have.
Right. That's on its way.
That's being built now.
Right.
So 225,000 for the street sweeper and 180,000 for the truck. Did I miss the tree with the money on it somewhere? Or?
Yes, for everybody in the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, it fell off the truck.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Lou?
That's it. Thanks.
Mr. Wright?
The only thing I have, a lot of residents been calling me, stopping by the house. Seems like we're having a large influx of skunks. They're all over the place. And in the neighborhoods, they're asking if we could do something about it. I don't know what we could, but they're like all over. If you drive down Brickley, down Stonehenge Drive, you can see 3 or 4 at night. And I guess Marsh Park's having them, Delaware Park, Rose Hill, and Brickley area. Not much we could do. I told him I'd bring it up, but...
I can report it to the animal control officer.
Yeah, it's...
He was in our office the other day. Oh, yes.
Sick or in someone's house is really...
We had one right outside the building here.
Really? You know...
It's my understanding, though, that they can't address it unless they're certified to handle wild animals.
I think he is.
Is he?
So I'll check with him.
If you check with the details, see what's involved there. It's funny, I walked out of my house and I smelled it too, and I'm not even near Phil's neighborhood.
It's,
they're all over.
But yeah, that's it.
Joe?
Mostly the rec committee. The brochure was one idea. The second idea, and this has come up before, is a park master plan. And what they'd like for now is if Paul could generate just maybe a couple of aerials of the park or something, a map, that they could work off of. And then at some point down the road, maybe meet with Paul after they've had a chance to generate some ideas, discuss the feasibility, then they would come back to council. They had their Easter egg hunt Saturday, March 31st. It was delayed once because of snow. I thought it was, well, you were there, it was great.
Yeah, it was
great success, big crowd, right?
It was very big,
turnout.
very big crowd. It was a nice day.
Nice event. I think the kids had a good time. They had lots of nice prizes donated. I think ShopRite was one of the donors, and kids got these special eggs and got to pick a prize. It was a good day. The Easter Bunny. I don't know who the Easter Bunny was. Whoever was, thank her. She was good.
Can you leave? It's his daughter.
Oh, yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah, she did an excellent job.
Community Day. It's a ways off, but it's, mark your calendars, it's Saturday, August 25th. Lori, we got a special guest coming? Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll fill in. Miss New Jersey, whoever she may be, is going to come, so we've already contracted with her. She hasn't been picked yet because it'll be a new one by the time we get there, but she's going to come for 3 hours. We'll kick it off with the cheerleaders, and then we'll have Miss New Jersey come, and if she has a talent that she could do, I know she'll have a talent, but it might not lend itself to community day. Like if she can dance, we'll have her do that, or if she can sing. But she's also gonna, she'll be talking and they can meet with her and stuff. So I think it'll be nice. Trying to get a few other people. We are with, just to update you, I called a Caribbean steel drum band today, so I'm trying to get them here. They're in the Easton area.
For Community Day? That would be a great...
Either for Community Day or for our remaining spots of music in the park. We're almost filled, which we're doing good.
I think it's a great choice for Community Day, to get that background stuff.
Right,
going
yeah.
on.
And they go around in Easton a lot. They have a pretty big band, so we're just trying to get some different types of music in case we get the grant money for music in the park. So I'm still waiting to hear on that, but
Great.
yes, I'm excited.
Well, thank you for giving
no problem.
half my report.
Thanks, Lori.
The other thing, this really isn't a council report, but I'm on the Pollution Control Financing Authority. And Sunday, August 15th is Electronics Recycling Day. I know that's been a problem for those of you that had old electronics.
So April?
Pardon me?
April 15th? You said August.
No, April 15th. Did I say what?
Whenever I missed it.
No, it's April. And, yeah, if you go in August, you'll still have your electronics. But, and then April 29th is Household Hazardous Waste. And you can go up there and get rid of old chemistry sets and certain paints and stuff like that. So if you go to their website, the flyers are there. They'll have the details, the hours, and any restrictions and so on. So I know electronics has been a problem with much of the county. I don't know, Peaburg seems to get rid of them, but the authority had trouble when they finally got somebody to take them. So just mark those calendars if you have that. That's it.
I only have, I have one big thing tonight. One of my decisions in whether I was going to run or not was riding around, taking a look at the infrastructure of this township. We are in sad shape. Red School Lane, Firestone, Greystone, Grandview, Anna Place. I know for a fact Anna Place hasn't been touched in since its inception. Some of these roads haven't been touched in 40 years as far as blacktop. We got a new street sweeper coming. I'm afraid might be sucking up half these roads because they're just in such bad shape. I had asked Paul to get me a rough estimate on Red School Lane from 57 to 519, and he gave me that this morning. And quite honestly, I was shocked in a good way because the figure that I just thought in my head was considerably lower than what I thought. But he hit me with a $450,000 bill to mill and pave that road. We went out to bond back in 2007 when we did Rose Hill Heights, Delaware Park, Brakely Park, and I'm afraid that we're going to have to do that again. We really haven't discussed it as a council. This was something that Paul just hit me with today, but it needs to be done. Anybody who's ridden down Red School Lane, that road is a wreck. And I fear that if we don't do something in the next couple of years, it's going to be a total reconstruction project. Then we're talking a couple million, I'm sure. So that and some of these sites, we must finish Morris Park. Morris Park is a disaster in a lot of areas. Surprised some of the residents aren't just fit to be tied. But the Dana Street and some of the other, it's got to be done. So I think we need to take a hard look at it, find out where our financial situation is. I know you refinanced some of the debt, I believe it was last year or the year before. Yeah. So our debt limit is nowhere where it could be. So we're in good shape that way. We certainly don't want to bankrupt the township or its people, but it's just time. We just need to take a hard look at it. The parking lot at the pool, the service road up to the field house, they're shot. And I know we didn't have the money back in 2007 when we don't have the money now. Obviously, the right way to do things would be to curb everything, to get the water to the storm drains. I don't see that happening. But like the service road up around the pool, there's a lot of water that runs down there. I think we needed to guide it down to the trench that's there. We just keep patching, and I'm not one to patch. I want to get it done and get it done right. So that's kind of my wish list. Obviously, the park is another thing. I think we need to take a serious look at the pavilion. These are all pie in the sky type things, but this is what this township seems to demand. And we have a beautiful park up there that we enhanced back in 2006. I think it's time to take it to the next level. The representatives from Phillipsburg can tell you, I'm not a shed guy. Let's put up a building and be done with it, and leave it better for the next generation. The last addition to that field house was done in 1980. My father did all the masonry work up there. It's the only reason I know that. I was working with him at the time. So it's time. The township has grown. We've got some growing pains, and to get a shed where there's going to be stone, and then there's going to be groundhogs, and we need to do things right. So I don't want to put anybody in a panic mode, but if you've ridden around this township and you don't see the condition of some of these roads, you gotta have your eyes checked, because we're in rough shape. So we do have some grant money, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, to do Baltimore Street?
We have $180,000.
To do Baltimore Street. So, Baltimore Street, especially between First and Red School Lane, it's a disaster. It's been a disaster for years. So, like it or lump it, it's time to, you won't see me up here soon, my council members, or any other, so we've wasted enough money on that. So, you want to change a few years back, you got it. Now the old guy's back. So, let's get some direction, and let's do things right. So, that's it for me. Paul?
Mayor, thank you very much. I had a few things to report to the council. We haven't had a meeting in a couple of months, but just to update you on a few engineering matters. South 2nd Street, which was a recently completed project, and that project had NJDOT local aid monies associated with it. We did close that project out. I submitted all the paperwork last week to the department. We're doing another $25,000 from the department under the grant agreement, so hopefully that comes in, to Kim's office in the next 45 days. We are closed out at this point. It passed inspection. On the Phillipsburg High School roadway improvement project closeout, the county had indicated they wanted a number of administrative requirements met before they would accept the project and allow for the turnover of the traffic signal. So I've been working very hard over the last few months to make them happen. The first thing that had to get done is we had to retime the traffic signal. The traffic signal had been retimed at some point after the signal was put into operation. It didn't match up with what the resolution that was adopted by the county freeholders, and so it was recently updated. Our office actually updated the signal timing after it was retimed, and the county freeholders have approved that revised timing right now, so that issue is beyond us at this point. The county was concerned about some of the wires that were going across Belvedere Road, and some of these wires were obstructing one of the signal heads. It was a signal head for the left-hand turn from Belvedere Road onto Roseberry Street. And so I had the cable company adjust it in the end of February. Verizon didn't get to it in March because of all the storms, but they are reporting that it is done. So I'm hoping that the county can get out there and inspect that and confirm that that in fact is done to their satisfaction. So if that's in fact the case, then we'll have issue 2 beyond us at this point, behind us. The last issue is and we started our work tonight here as a township. We've introduced an ordinance, is the conveyance of various parcels to the county that were obtained as part of the construction process. The Jewelry property is one of them. There's a second property in Phillipsburg, the Porter property, and Katrina and Rich and I were talking about that tonight. So Rich is going to be preparing the paperwork for the town of Phillipsburg. And the last one, the school district has to do one, and I've supplied some paperwork to the school district, and I know their attorney is working on that right now. So that's the last piece of the puzzle. So hopefully over the next few months we can get our arms around it, get these things resolved, and get the county to accept the project and take over the traffic signal. Theoretically, we still own the signal at this point. So, and we don't want the signal. That was never supposed to be part of the agreement.
Any word on Hardwick? Is when the utilities are going to get back out there to take care of that, where the sinkholes were?
I have to follow up on that, Mayor. The weather's just been so poor.
I was out there over the weekend. The barricades are down. There's plywood in people's yards. It's not.
Okay. I will do a follow-up on that. I'm preparing right now the annual stormwater report for the DEP, so that should be in probably by next week. Brian has helped me as always and given me a lot of paperwork and information in order to file that report. Also, Beth is helping me out as well. Regarding ordinance work, I recently met with Katrina due to the new stormwater permit from the DEP, as well as some statutory changes having to do with the way bonding is handled in the state of New Jersey. There's going to be some ordinance amendments. So Katrina and I have met. We need to do a follow-up, and I think we'll be able to provide something to you for the next meeting in May. And lastly, on the 2 federal aid projects, this has to do with the sidewalk construction on Belvedere Road. The township has $702,000 in grant monies on these 2 projects to build sidewalks and create a sidewalk network on Belvedere Road and do other safety improvements. There's also some sidewalks next to the school on Strikers Road. It's part of one of the projects. I was authorized at our last meeting in February to do the surveying work, but I was told we needed to get some of the administrative work into the state first, so I've been working with Beth. Beth has put a lot of time into getting the procedures manuals done at this point, so I think she's on the verge of getting that submitted.
I did send it off today.
Okay, great. So again, I haven't moved ahead with the surveying work because that was your wishes. So.
April, the submissions are in, we got them done, so I would suggest tonight we tell you to start the survey.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second? Second.
Okay, Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Crawford?
Yes.
Mayor Mendoza?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, and that's the end of my report. Thank you for listening to me tonight.
Can you have anything for us tonight?
No.
Chief?
Nothing to report, sir.
Okay. All right, approved department reports. You have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved payment of bills.
Before you do that, I saw a JMT bill on there. I'll have to recuse myself relative to that particular bill.
Motion?
Motion.
Second? Motion?
I need a motion to take.
I'll make the motion.
Somebody second?
Second.
Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mendoza?
Yes. Folks, questions, comments? Now's your time. John?
My name is John Betts, and I live in Brakely Gardens Apartments on Red School Lane. I would just like to make public a few issues which might be affecting, or have affected, or will affect in the future residents and the population in the area. One of the constantly affecting population situations is the aging population. And another one is the possibility of maternity units and psych units and drug units in hospitals which are in Warren County, but the particular one is Warren General or St. Luke's Warren Hospital, to deal with the situation of drug addiction, psychological incidents, and maternity needs of some of the young residents of our community. As far as another thing is we should should be aware of the needs for transportation in our general local area, needs for transportation from down Belvedere area to this area. Then should be looking into some issues such as more assisted living places, not particularly in our community since much of the land is taken, but other areas in the county. The situation of the library, is anybody aware of whether we're joining the county library or staying with Phillipsburg? Has that been decided upon?
We pay a county library tax.
We pay the county library, yes, okay. Okay, and then just another issue would be fracking up near the headwaters of the Delaware River. I don't know where Aqua gets its water from, but the fracking is, if you look into any scientific demonstration of what fracking does to the aquifers, the Delaware River waterheads are right possibly near and within the fracking zone and the aquifers are near within fracking zone, northeastern Pennsylvania fracking units. If New York ever considers their fracking rules at the headwaters up north of the Delaware, that also could affect water, and if Aqua gets its water from the Delaware, that could affect it, or any aquifers that are in in our region. And the last thing is with the aging population, this is something that might affect everybody sometime, and maybe not, but aging population generally, the retirements, the 401ks, the Social Security, which is up in the air now, and 401ks, which are replacing and have been replacing for years the retirement incomes of people. One thing to remember in all of those financial situations is that as you get older, and if you end up renting, the rents go up with the way that the Federal Reserve runs their replenishment of money and increasing the money supply. As your 401k increases, regardless of where it's going to get to, the value of it is always going to decrease because of the printing of extra money. So I just want, and that makes it difficult for seniors after they've retired, if they live 25 or 30 years forward, especially if they end up renting an apartment. Okay, so those are just issues I want to make aware.
John,
yes,
you know, we're not required to respond, but there's I've always been pretty honest with you.
Yes,
You mentioned a couple things that are simply above our pay grade there.
Yes, okay. Yes,
fracking.
Okay. All right.
There's tons of stuff written on both sides, the economics, the scientific side. I think Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection took 5 years to study it.
Yes.
And then finally put out regs. That's beyond our scope here.
All right, John.
The Federal Reserve doesn't really want to hear from me. But there's a couple of other things. The transportation. I worked with Rainey took the lead in it with New Jersey Transit. There is a route that handles much of the town. I mean, it may not be the most convenient, but it's available. And I don't know if you're aware of it. Rainey and I rode the whole circuit one day.
Okay.
Of course, it's $1, right?
I was aware of that.
That is available.
Yes.
And I forget the other thing you mentioned.
Can I just add something?
Sure, go ahead.
What many people don't realize is if it's in the route and you go to the corner, it will stop for you. It doesn't have to be a designated stop. So it makes it handy for people.
That's the New Jersey Transit.
Yes.
Right. Okay, thanks. And
Warren County provides some transportation for seniors also.
Now, once again, homeowners, I want you to aware when you cash out, that's the end of your valuation unless you do your proper investments. And then if banks get into a situation where they need to be bailed out or bailed in, it presents a lot of problems too. And with the Social Security and the health programs, that's something that should be made
they're all
aware of.
concerns.
Your comments are always appreciated, Joe.
Thanks, Jack. Thank you very much, Mayor Migucci.
Thank you.
And thanks, Joe.
John, real quick, I just want to comment to your fracking.
Yes.
I think the governor signed a bill to be no fracking in New Jersey.
Oh.
And same thing in Pennsylvania.
All right, Lou. That's something I wasn't aware of. Just making you aware.
That up.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else? Rainey?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here to request volunteers. On April 21st, we're going to be hosting the Warren County Health Department. They're holding a point of distribution exercise there. And it's important for them to get as many volunteers as possible out for this event. For those of you who don't know, this is my first time with this organization doing this at our school, at the middle school. Several county and state agencies will be participating in this exercise to evaluate the effectiveness of a current plan to determine the capability of public health workforce to efficiently distribute medications to a large number of people. In order to make it realistic, they need as many volunteers as possible. In the event of an outbreak of a life-threatening disease or intentional release of a biological or chemical agent by terrorists, a major responsibility of public health would be to dispense medications to the public. And that's what this exercise is all about. So I have forms here. There's a volunteer form for you to register. They would ask that you send it in advance. It's on April 21st, which is a Saturday. It's from 8 to 1, and breakfast and lunch will be provided, which I know that's always really important. So I just want to reach out to the community in any way that we can help this wonderful organization. And
Do you know do you show up and they give you a piece of a placebo or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is that-
No one will receive real medication.
So you just get in line, you get your pill, and
Yeah,
they prove they can
candy,
do it,
Sweet
right?
tarts, I don't know. Smarties. So I encourage the township to take part in this event. We are a county-wide site, so that means in the event of a real emergency, they're looking to service 36,000 individuals. So they need as many as possible to be at this event. And to date, I think they only have about 50, so.
It's like a third of the county, right? Around there, yeah.
The amount that
Significant,
they,
yeah.
yeah. They have a couple sites, but we're the largest one in the county for this distribution project. So I have a volunteer form for each one of you. If you are available on that day, please consider it.
We can hang one up here, Beth, right?
I got a thing.
And if you would put some out, and maybe you can encourage the employees at the building.
I think we could have some here available. We'll hang one on the door.
It's April 21st. The deadline on here says March 21st, but they will take it in advance. They would prefer that you don't walk in with it because they want to be prepared.
Okay.
For the people. So thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you. Anyone else? Lori?
Be real quick, I didn't want to interrupt Joe's report. As far as Carly Veman, I can vouch for her because she did all of our photographs for the 150th. There's
Okay.
actually, I think, a photo album back there if you want to check it out. We've
Okay.
used them on our website and everything too. I do have a couple of pictures from music in the park and movies at the pool, which you might need since we won't have that ahead of time. So I'll send those to you because I think we can, if you can throw that in the brochure too. Also, that leads me to the next thing, which I sent Beth today. I did get proposals. I went and got the quotes because I know we were talking about upgrading some of the sound systems there, but we had no idea how much it was to even ask for money from people. So Dave Phillips provided us with 3 quotes so we could at least have an idea. So I sent those to Beth. I think I CC'd the 2 of you on there.
You did.
The one that, of course, is most important to me is the movie one, because we borrow the school's equipment. It is rather large. It's a little cumbersome and a little, dangerous. So if we could do that, plus we could also use it, it would be ours. So we could use it all throughout the year. People could use it if they wanted to watch movies at their rentals. So I don't know exactly what we have to do next, but if you just want to take a look at that, let me know. I'll be around. And then the other thing, since Rainey is also here, when we had to move the Easter egg hunt, I reached out to the school, of course, so they could let everybody know. And one of the things that we had tried a couple years ago, we were trying to consolidate communications so that we could tell the school about events that we're doing that they could push out and vice versa. I talked to Mr. Bonney about it again, and he said he'd be interested in, if Rainey's interested in us getting together and seeing what we could do, because we do have, I know we had talked over the weekend too, about trying to put more out on our social media, our website, and just getting everything together so the community as a whole knows what they're doing. So if you want, I can work with them to set something up.
Thank you very much for putting that picture of me in the Easter
Yeah, no problem. It was great. It was a big hit.
I am told I was cute since I was told it was cute.
No, it was great. But thank you.
Anyone else? Gary?
Gary Van Vliet, I'm also the chairman of the Sewer Adjustment Panel, and regarding item, I guess 8, it is resolution adjusting the credit on a sewer account.
Yep.
I'm not aware of an $800 credit that we ever gave to anybody.
It's from a deduct meter,
It was from a deduct meter?
Yes.
allegedly, yeah.
since we are supposedly the authority of the final, is this?
I consider it, I'm familiar with it, it was more of an audit issue than an appeal.
Okay, so you're not going to require the...
No, it was handled as part of the quality control that goes with a review of any, any record here. And since
We
you're...
requested a refund because the credit was so large, and when we looked at the account, we realized that the credit was in error entered onto the system.
And it was never implemented. So it was something that was caught before it was even done.
We can tell you about it later.
I don't want to get into
So, no, but
anything,
if
since
you-
this was
if you hear
an
about it-
executive session and stuff. I'm just wondering...
There was no appeal, let's put it, there was no appeal by the user.
Whoever the user was for it, so, but you don't need anything to be approved by the...
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
We're good. Anyone else at this time? Seeing none, hearing none? Need a motion to adjourn?
We still got some...
Oh, we gotta go back into executive session, right? Okay. Need a motion to go back into executive session?
Motion.
Second? Second. All in favor?
We should probably tell them how long we're gonna be.
Probably a half hour, maybe?
Yeah, no more than a half hour.
And no action taken, or?
I don't have any.
No.
You still need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, we
Everybody
should.
seen it?
Motion to adjourn.
We need a motion to adjourn. I got a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
So what's power?